Welcome to Mad About with me, Maddie Alexander-Grout, the podcast where we talk about ADHD, money, business, life. This episode contains a massive trigger warning. In this episode, I talk about suicide from a personal perspective. I also talk about PMDD, mental health, burnout, ADHD, and I feel like this does need to come with a big trigger warning. So I'm going to explain a little bit about what you're going to hear. So yesterday I recorded a solo podcast episode, which was basically me in a hole. I was at the peak of my PMDD yesterday, and I was very emotional, and I really wanted to get this episode out. So I've done a little bit around it so that you can see the difference between me yesterday and the difference between me today. Literally one day. So my period was not due until Sunday, and I'm pretty sure that my body heard my cry for help, and it came last night. And the relief of my period coming has just been, game changing, literally game changing. Like today, I'm a different person. I am doing all of the things that I would normally do. But yesterday was very, very difficult. So the next clip that you're going to hear is me talking about how I was feeling yesterday. And it is not an easy listen. So for those of you who are friends with me, my family, those close around me, I know that this is a temporary thing that happens to me once a month. It happens every month for 10 days. But I really wanted to show people what PMDD is really, really like. So today, now that my period's come, I'm not out of the woods. I still don't feel 100% myself, but I am so much better than I was yesterday. And the people who have reached out to me, the people who sent me messages and voice notes and all of the things, I am so grateful to have such an amazing support network. And I mentioned being lonely in the next clip. When I'm in my right mind, I don't feel lonely at all. But that's the thing. PMDD does really, really weird things to you. So the next part of this show is going to be triggering for some people. So I just wanted to give you that pre-warning. It's going to be a hard listen, but I think it's an important listen, and I think that people need to hear it. Listen to the end, and the rest of the episode after that is basically me talking about what PMDD is. So yeah, have a listen, and I just apologise in advance if it upsets you. Today, I don't even know whether I'm supposed to be recording this podcast. As you can see from my face, I have just been crying. And I want to talk today about ADHD, burnout, and PMDD for people who don't know what it is. So PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, it is something that affects a lot of people who have got ADHD. What it is basically it's PMS but times 100, and for about 10 days a month and ovulation day, you don't want to be on this planet. You get suicidal thoughts where you genuinely feel like you do not want to be here. Everything is all consuming, and when you're in ADHD burnout, it can be even worse. And I'm not going to lie, that's currently where I'm at right now. Don't worry, I am very much aware of the consequences that suicide has on people. I love my family, I love my husband, I love my kids. I would never ever do that to them. But when you get to a place where you just feel really, really lonely, and you don't really know what to do, kind of there at the moment. I am in the middle of summer. Summer holidays have been summering really hard. I've been going through a few things in the business world. I don't really feel like I fit in anywhere at the moment. And I feel my children are currently trying to kill each other downstairs. I can hear them, which is never good. But yeah, I feel really, really alone. And even though I've got an amazing membership and people check in on me all the time, I kind of feel like I've sort of lost my friends in the business world recently. And I don't really know if people are my friends because they're working with me, or they're my friends because they genuinely like me. I mean, there are some people that I know genuinely like me. This is a little bit of a woe is me type of podcast today. But I feel it's really important for business owners to know that they're not alone if they are feeling really low, especially when they have ADHD and PMDD. My period is due on Saturday, so I am in the thick of it. And I tell myself every single month that it's only temporary. But that's really hard because it comes and it goes every single month. And for 10 days at least, I feel like this. And I want to burn my entire business to the ground. Like today's recent thought is that actually I need to simplify and I need to back off from loads of things. So today I have cancelled all of the events that I'm meant to be going to. I'm just not feeling like I want to be around people at the moment. And that's a big sign of burnout as well. So when you're burned out, the things that you will see will be all of the stuff that normally brings you joy will just stop bringing you joy. The things that you do to make money are things that are just not interesting to you anymore. Getting out of bed is a real struggle. Like showing up visibility wise can be a real struggle. So, I'm really glad that when I'm feeling like this, like in my good state, I will batch loads of content so that I've still got stuff that can go out to the world when I'm feeling this low. But I don't really know why I decided to pop on and record this really, but I think it was more just to let other people know that if they're feeling like this, then they're not alone. Like, it's okay to not be okay, but you need to tell people that you're not okay so that you've got the support. I've just booked a session with a therapist. I think I've needed more therapy for a long time and I've kind of been putting it off and not actually acknowledging that I am really struggling. I've been going through a lot recently. So, like, my grandma passed away a few weeks ago. It's coming up to the anniversary of my grandpa's death, and I think that's made me think of that more, which is hard. Also, we put an offer in on a house back in January. It still hasn't completed. And I hate where I live. I really hate where I live. And when you hate where you live, it's, obviously I'm very grateful, and there are so many more people who are going through more things than me. And I think that's also something that plays on my mind. It's like, Maddie, you've got a good life. You earn decent money. You've got people around you. Why do you feel like this? But that's the thing. PMDD makes you feel like you are going crazy. I've got a history of psychosis. I had postpartum psychosis when my son was born. And I'm terrified of that creeping back in because it's something that I know I've been through before. So it could quite easily happen again. So this is very raw and very vulnerable for me, but I'm feeling like I'm failing. And I always tell people that failure is the thing that gets them to the next point. Failure is the springboard to success. Failure is the thing that, actually we learn from our mistakes and then we go forward so that we can be the person who we want to be. But when your heart is heavy and your head is heavy and you don't really know which way to turn, that can be quite difficult. I don't want people to worry about me because I genuinely will be okay. I'm working on myself. I'm working on my mental health. I have got an amazingly supportive family. My mum is brilliant. My husband is brilliant. But I am struggling. And I think it's okay to talk about the fact that you're struggling. I'm being a bit of a hypocrite here because I always say, share the scar, not the wound. This is the wound. But it's a constant wound for me. So I have to keep talking about it. And it's important for other people to know that they're not alone if they're feeling like this. PMDD and ADHD are so closely linked. And when you're running a business and you're trying really hard to show up for yourself and to show up authentically, but you feel like sometimes you can't through fear of judgment or through people feeling like you're not a good leader. For me, because I run a membership, like I feel like if sometimes I let everybody know how I'm actually feeling, they're going to lose confidence in me, and then my business is going to go. But I need to be confident about this because it is something that so many people struggle with, and I think this is an important episode. And I'm sorry for crying on you all, because that's not, professional in a professional kind of way. But do you know what? It's real, it's raw, and I always tell it like it is. Because if somebody listens to this podcast and they feel less alone and they are feeling like they don't want to be around anymore, then they know that I am somebody that they can talk to. Because so many people feel like this, and I just want you to know that it is temporary. It does pass. A year ago, I lost a friend to PMDD, and that's really hard because you know that as soon as your period comes, you get to day 2 or so, and actually you feel so much better. But it's that time before that time where all the dark thoughts are creeping in. It's the time when you feel like you cannot show up and you don't really know what to do for the best because you can't focus. The drive is gone. So burnout, ADHD and PMDD all combined, absolute fuckers. So that's what I'm going through at the moment. I am probably going to be cancelling some of the things that I'm doing. It's not because I'm going crazy, although technically slightly crazy. It's because I'm trying to look after myself and trying to be the person that I am meant to be. So if this is you, if you're feeling like you're alone, talk to people. Talk to people around you. Talk to me. My inbox is always open. And I don't mean just, message me to see if I'm okay, because I am going to tell you honestly that I'm not okay at the moment. But I think that's why it's important to get this out. Samaritans. Talk to the Samaritans. They are absolutely brilliant. Talk to your family. Talk to your friends. Tell people that you are struggling. Get help where you can. Mad About, which is my free community. Please come in and talk about your mental health. Talk about the things that are going on. And I really hope that people see this podcast episode for what it is, something that is trying to help other people. Not a woe is me, I need everybody to give me hugs, although, sending me pictures of kittens wouldn't go amiss. This is me being real and raw and honest and talking about something that is so painful to me, something that not enough people talk openly about, in a format that hopefully people can understand. So that's me. This is not a suicide note. I am not going anywhere. But I am sad. I am in the ADHD front coal. I am in a place where I am struggling, but I have a support system, and I'm reaching out to those people who also feel the same as me to say that you are not alone. And I am here. My community is here. And for every single one of you who is struggling with your ADHD, your PMDD, perimenopause, burnout, all of those things, it will pass. My motto in life, this too shall pass. It really will. I have been through worse things than this. I mean, God, read my book, Mad About Money. It will tell you the story of my life. It's not a boring money book. It's a book that will help you with understanding your brain. I think that's one thing that keeps me here on this planet, the fact that I know that my brain is playing tricks on me. I know that my body is just going through something. And I think that it will all get better. I will get better. But it's about admitting to yourself that there is a problem. Because when you don't admit to yourself that there's a problem, that's where everything goes really wrong. I promise I'm not usually this depressing, but I needed to get this out today. I feel like it's good for me to talk about it. It's good for other people to hear about it. And yeah, don't go through this on your own because it's not worth it. And people need you here. They need you here on this planet because you bring joy most of the time. So anyway, I might not put this episode out. I don't know. It's probably quite powerful, but I feel very vulnerable putting it out there. But I think it needs to go. So yeah, anyway, that's me. I'll see you guys next time. So that was me yesterday, and this is me today. Today, I feel like most of that has shifted. I don't feel as lonely as I did. In fact, yesterday I put out a post on Facebook to say that I was struggling, and I had so many messages and voice notes and people telling me that they loved me, and that was just amazing. The thing with PMDD is, like, one day you can feel like you want to jump off a building. The next day you can be absolutely fine. My period has decided that it wanted to kind of like peak a little bit early. So like I thought I had another 6 or so days of feeling like this, but my period's decided to come early, which is like, do you know what? One of the most biggest reliefs ever. Like, I don't feel completely myself. I don't feel like I did yesterday either. I had so much support from people, like, and this is one of the things that I really wanted to demonstrate with this podcast. Like, you are not alone. If you communicate with people and tell people that you're struggling, they will reassure you that actually you aren't on your own. Just like I did yesterday. Give yourself permission to pause. Give yourself permission to rest and step away from your business if you need to. Because sometimes, well, in fact, all of the time, you are better off on this planet than burning yourself to the ground. Your business can't function without you in it. So if you have to take some time off so that you can decompress, have a massive cry. I mean, I'm not going to lie, yesterday, the massive cry was just the thing that I needed. I really needed a big cry. I needed a big outlet. I needed something and somebody to just tell me that, do you know what, it is going to be okay. Because we are human beings. We are not robots. We can't force our feelings. And burnout plus PMDD plus perimenopause plus ADHD, sometimes we feel like this. And I know that the consequences of suicide are just absolutely horrendous for those people around me. Like, as I said before in that video, like, I love my family, and I wouldn't do anything to jeopardize their thoughts and feelings. Like, I don't think that it is stupid or insensitive or any of these things. Like, I think when somebody gets to the point where they feel like they have no way out, they don't really think about anybody else. And I have been there. I really have been there. Like, there have been several times in my life where I have just not wanted to be around anymore, even at the cost of like not really thinking about anybody else. So, you know, I realise that, you know, there are absolutely reasons why people wouldn't want to be around. You know, I'm not a mental health professional, so I'm just going to clear this up. I'm talking about this from a personal perspective, and how I have felt in the past. And, you know, sometimes I help my clients with this as well. You know, I will always refer people on if it gets to a point where I'm so worried about somebody's mental health that I don't feel I can coach them. I feel like they are more better placed with therapy or something like that. I actually contacted a therapist yesterday. I've booked myself in for some therapy, and I'm actually really excited about it. I think there's some stuff that is underlying that I could definitely clear. So that's a good thing. So reaching out to people who can help you when you feel like you're in this situation. But isn't it really interesting how that's how I felt yesterday, and today I've woken up and it's almost like I have a different lease of life. I feel really positive. I feel really proactive. I've done loads of work today. Yesterday, like, I could have quite happily not got out of bed, and I kind of almost wish I hadn't. It was a really, really tough day. But when you are going through something as heavy as PMDD is, like, I just wanted, like, and I really, really did go like to and fro. Like, do I release this? Do I not release this? Like, it definitely needed a trigger warning, so I've added that in the beginning, because I think people definitely need to have that trigger warning. But it's going to have been a really hard listen, especially if you're friends with me, especially if you're somebody who does care about me. That is going to be a really, really hard thing for you to hear. But just know that I am not like that all the time. But for 10 days a month, usually, I mean, it seems to have been cut short this month. Thank God for that. But actually, I really do struggle, and it feels all consuming. And it's just the difference that your period making an appearance can show. Like, I've got the headaches, I've got the stomach cramps, I've got all the period symptoms, and I would take that any day over what it does to my brain. And this is the thing, for people who have got ADHD, PMDD is something that is actually really common. Not that many people know about it. Premenstrual dysphoric disorder. It is essentially a really, really nasty thing that a lot of ADHDers can get. And I should probably have actually looked up. Let's look it up. Let's look up what the actual definition of PMDD is. Because I think actually, I need more of a definition of just it's a shit thing that happens. So PMDD stands for premenstrual dysphoric disorder. Like PMS, but on steroids. It's a severe hormonal mood disorder that happens in the luteal phase of the menstrual cycle, 1 to 2 weeks before your period starts. For people with ADHD, autism, or other neurodivergence, it often feels more intense because hormones mess with executive function, emotional regulation, and energy. Symptoms of PMDD. They usually appear once your period begins, disappear when your period begins, which is, a bit different from depression. Severe mood swings, sense of irritability or anger. You get PMDD rage. Fuck me, the PMDD rage. It is honestly horrendous. Feeling hopeless, depressed, or anxious. I mean, that's how I was feeling yesterday. Extreme brain fog, extreme fatigue, trouble concentrating, even more with ADHD. Sleep changes. So for me, I get really restless. I get restless legs and irritability. Feeling overwhelmed and out of control. And when you feel out of control and you feel overwhelmed, it means that you're even more sensitive. And that's when people get suicidal thoughts. And that's when it starts to get really, really heavy. Sore boobs, bloating, cramps, headaches. I mean, we can cope with those, right? They're kind of like normal PMS kind of symptoms. But PMDD versus PMS, mild or moderate symptoms, uncomfortable but a bit manageable, that's PMS. PMDD is severe. It's life-interrupting. It is something that affects your work. It affects your relationships, mental health. And that's where the suicidal thoughts can often come in. So that's why I really wanted to record that video yesterday. I really wanted people to see me in that moment. I could have re-recorded it. I could have re-recorded it without the crying. I could have re-recorded it without me being so vulnerable. But if I'd have done that, you wouldn't have really seen what it's really like. So some of the things that I have done to reduce my PMDD symptoms, and oh my God, if I hadn't done these, honestly, don't know where I would have been. So I've cut caffeine out of my diet completely. No coffee, no tea, no Coke, no nothing like that. I have upped my protein levels, so I try and have at least 3 or 4 protein portions a day. I've knocked out carbs. I've reduced sugar massively. When you reduce sugar, it helps to stabilize your hormones. It helps to balance you out a bit. What else have I done? I've started taking some different supplements. So magnesium I take, which is quite helpful. Vitamin D. So a lot of people think that vitamin D is just you have to take it in the winter because you're not getting any sun, but actually it really does help if you're in depression. You can take SSRIs as well. I hope I said that right. So things like sertraline, you can take them. I'm investigating that at the moment because I actually think that, I'm not depressed because it's not all the time. It's just certain times of the month, but also as well with PMDD, if you're on ADHD medication, your ADHD medication does not work as well, or if at all. I actually think in my PMDD week, I might as well not bother taking my medication. I'm not a doctor, by the way, do not listen to my medical advice. But for me, I still take it because if I don't take my ADHD medication, it gives me headaches. Almost like withdrawal symptoms. You don't want to withdraw from something if you're not supposed to. But do speak to your doctor about SSRIs and see whether or not you could maybe take something along with your ADHD medication. That might help. In terms of burnout, try and be kind. Like, be kind to yourself, because like I could spend today just being like, oh my God, I made a tit of myself online and I went and told people I was depressed. And like today I've just woken up and I've been like, right, what am I going to do in my membership today? Like, how am I going to serve my people? But yesterday I couldn't show up for anybody. Like, and this is like something that is really important for me to talk about, because I run a membership and my membership expect me to be there because I am the face of the membership. Like, the good thing about my community is that everybody is so supportive of one another and they're so supportive of me. So if I say to people, I can't show up for a bit, people get it. Like, they know that I'm also disabled. They know that I struggle with things. They know I've got stuff going on at the moment. We're humans. As long as you communicate. Like, if I was to go AWOL and just be like, sorry, membership, fuck you guys, I'm not going to show up, people would be really annoyed about that. But I always communicate. No matter how I'm feeling, I will always tell people where I am in my cycle. And one of the things that I've learned, one of the biggest things that I've learned, is that actually I need to try and plan my workload around my PMDD week. Because if I can do that, if I'm giving people enough value in my membership, if I'm giving people enough value in my world, then when I'm going through this, people are not going to leave. They're not going to be in a position where they're like, oh, well, Maddie's just stopped showing up for us. What a bitch. Because that's not me. Like, I actually, yesterday, I've got a ring on this finger, one of my favourite rings. Like, my favourite ring, I was scratching something on my back. And if you're perimenopausal, you will know that back, oh my God, the itchy skin is just horrendous. Trying to scratch something on my back, my ring got caught on my bra, and it snapped. And I cried for like 2 hours because I really liked that ring. Like, it was one of my favourite rings. I've only had it recently and I only paid £11 for it. Maybe I should buy and invest in more expensive jewellery, but I'm not materialistic. But I cried and I cried. When you are in that stage, like, literally anything can rock you, and you can feel absolutely fine in one moment, and then in another you're in a blind rage, you're shouting at your kids, you're doing things that you don't feel are you feel out of character. So this is me basically saying that we can't do a huge amount about PMDD apart from go to the doctors, speak about it with people, speak about it openly, but be really honest with people. And that's what it was yesterday. It was, I don't know if it was a cry for help, or if it was I needed an outlet. I needed some way of making myself feel better. And for me, that's content creation. So it seems a bit weird, but I also think that this episode will help so many people. And whether you run a business or you're in the workplace, like, be honest about your symptoms with the people around you, because they can only support you if they know what's going on. So that's my first tip. Second tip, like, wherever possible, especially if you're running your own business, take some time out. Ask for some holiday. Give yourself a bit of a break. Like, speak to people and explain to them how you feel during those times. If you can get a reduced workload during those times, do that. If you can, make sure that you have some sustainable semi-passive income, something that means that you're getting paid without having to show up, that also really, really helps. Like, I think if I had my coaching clients, like, I just messaged them and I said, I'm really not going to give you the best of me today. So some of them were like, that's okay, we'll rearrange for next week. Other people were like, don't worry, whatever. Like, literally none of my clients were like, Maddie, I need to see you today. If they had, I would have seen them, but I probably wouldn't have been in my best space. So just give yourself that little bit of grace, because if you don't, you're just going to end up feeling even worse. Like, see if you can get some therapy, see if you can get some hypnotherapy or something which calms your nervous system. I've been having Access bars recently, which is absolutely game-changing. It's possibly one of the most relaxing things that I think I've ever had. That helps me. Having a massage, or like going and getting my nails done or getting my hair done, like something that gives me that dopamine without reaching for the bad food, without reaching for the alcohol or anything that is worse. Communicate with everybody what's going on. Tell them about your dip. Like, it's not it's not selfish to tell people that you need to be selfish, because sometimes you really do. Like if you've got work that you can redelegate to other people, or you've got a manager, or, you know, in my case, like I've got amazing team. And my team are so supportive. If I tell them that I can't show up, they just get it and they crack on. So this is my PMDD episode. But today I'm feeling so much more myself. I can't guarantee you that next month I won't have a blip again and I won't be back in that place, because it does happen literally every single month. But I wanted this episode to go out because I feel like it's so important that people can see the vulnerability. They can see that they're not alone, and, you know, there are things that you can do. But if you struggle in silence and you don't reach out to people, then that's when it can become really, really catastrophic. So, and I don't want people to be in a situation where that happens. Like, if you know that PMDD is coming and you run a business, try and make sure that you are on a lighter workload during that time. If you are somebody who likes to pre-plan, like me, I mean, I'm an autistic person as well as an ADHD person, so I do like a bit of pre-planning. Like, have some form of like PMDD go bag or something like that. Something where you have a load of dopamine filled things, dopamine centric, like a book that you like, a go-to show that you watch. Maybe you might want to dye your hair, or you might want to give yourself a facial, or something that makes you feel slightly less on your own. Connect with friends. Like, we are the least sociable people when we are going through PMDD week, but I can tell you from personal experience, like having some people around you who are not going to judge you for being in the hole, because, you know, there will be people who will judge you for being in the hole, and there will be people who probably don't talk about you in a nice way for being vulnerable online. But do you know what? Fuck them. Absolutely fuck them. Because your mental health, your state of being, your business, like your life, is way more important than literally anything else. And you have to be you have to look after you, especially if you've got children, or a husband or wife or partner, so people around you that care. You're going to want to make sure that you are protecting yourself. So warn them when it's coming. Like my husband, like I say to him, PMDD week's coming, and he knows. He basically, like, he'll go to the supermarket and he'll get me loads of protein. He'll get me loads of like fruit and vegetables and like food that's nice, that nourishes the soul. He will probably most likely get me chocolate, even though he knows that I'm not supposed to be having it. But, he's that type of person. So just pre-warn the people around you. Anyway, I'm sorry for this depressing episode. It is a little bit depressing, but it's also very real. It's also very raw. And I think that from listening to it, I just want to make sure that people understand that they are not alone. My inbox is always open. If you want to reach out to me on my socials, it's Maddie Talks Money on Instagram, Mad About Money Official on TikTok, and Maddie Alexander-Grout everywhere else. If you've enjoyed is a very loose word. If you have found this episode useful, we haven't enjoyed it, have we? Really, none of us. But if you found this episode useful, click the save button, subscribe to the podcast, and share it with anybody who you know who is struggling. But just make sure that they know that it comes with a trigger warning, because like I don't want to upset anybody. It was a hard episode for me to do yesterday, but I'm glad I did it, because there is you can see the clear difference between me yesterday and me today. Like, it is a work in progress, always is. But thanks very much for listening, everybody. I'm Maddie Alexander-Grout, and I will see you next time.